Welcome to the OMIMO Community Forum 2025, a growing ecosystem. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, you are among friends. We welcome community members from Canada to Cameroon, from Germany to Ghana, from Poland to Portugal, India to Ireland, Spain to Saudi Arabia. Friends from more than 63 countries tune in to be with us today. If you are new, welcome. If you contributed this year, thank you. My name is Carla. I'm a member of the OMIMO events team, and I will be your host for this forum, OMIMO, a growing ecosystem. We are here with a purpose, to come together and celebrate. To celebrate what we built together in the last year. New modules, new translations, stronger user groups, better practices in real projects. To celebrate the people who made it possible. The contributors, trainers, translators, reviewers and users who kept the momentum going. To celebrate our growth as a community that improves project management through open, minimalist and modular best practices. Today, we pause so we can look back at 2025. We pause so we can plan for 2026. We pause to listen to your questions and concerns so we can act on them and improve. So what is the plan for today? You will hear how OMIMO modules are used in practice from practitioners all over the world. You will see what is new, and you will learn how to take part in the next chapter of OMIMO. This program this evening has 4 parts. First, the year in review. You will hear about the milestones and achievements in 2025. Then, a closer look at the growing ecosystem, new developments, user group stories, and expert voices on how they apply the modules in their organizations. After that, looking ahead. How do we continue to grow in 2026? What are the plans and how can you, as a community member, contribute? We close, as always, with the open forum. This year, we introduced fast fire chats for partner organizations. And then after that, there is time for any question you have for us. But before we start, 2 practical details. This event is live streamed, which means you can submit live questions. We are monitoring the question inbox from all live stream platforms. The most frequently questions will be answered in the open forum. All other questions will be answered in writing after the event. So rest assured, even if we don't have time for your question, you will get an answer. If you encounter any technical difficulties during the event and you want to reach the team behind the scenes, you can email us at events@omimo.org. Now, let's get started. Our first segment of this live show is 2025, the year in review. Let's review 2025 together. And what better way to start this forum with a quick overview of the OMIMO landscape. Erin Maluli will give us an overview of the different management levels OMIMO defines and how they relate to each other. Erin, over to you.
Thank you, Carla, for that introduction. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Erin. Many of you already know OMIMO very well, but it's always good to start an event such as today to start with a reminder of ourselves of what we are developing. OMIMO develops management modules for what we call the project ecosystem. In the project ecosystem, there are 5 layers of management directly involved in making sense of projects. The first layer is portfolio management, which is where we select projects. After all, we don't want to waste our time and money on any idea, and we all have limited resources. That is where portfolio management comes in. It helps us select the best ideas to invest our limited resources. Layer 4 is program management, or change management as you like. It's where we manage a group of related projects that have strong ties with each other. We manage them together in a program to ensure the expected results are realized. Layer 3 is the most popular one, project management. In project management, we create the real outputs. There are different teams in each project, usually managed by a technical team manager. The way they manage their work should be compatible with the way the project is managed as a whole. Anyway, that's a topic for layer 2. Finally, the lowest layer is about task management. Each individual has multiple sources of tasks, from projects, operations, friends and family, hobbies, and more. Productive individuals need to have proper task management system to be effective members of the project ecosystem. That's a topic of layer 1. Now, why is it important to distinguish these layers? For starters, it's challenging to expect a single person to do all of these things. So, when we separate them, we can train different people for each layer and connect them effectively. Remember that collaboration is key here. Another reason for paying attention to these layers and making sure they're all covered is that it's common to see a problem in a layer, such as project management, where it has a root cause in a different layer, such as portfolio management. Let's take an example. A company is struggling with their project management. The PMs don't have time, they are overworked, and they're skipping different important management activities. But in reality, the cause is not in the PM layer, it's that there are too many projects underway at the same time. They have to switch contacts so many times that they just can't keep up. This is not an issue in the project management layer. The root cause is in portfolio management. We need to have a better way to invest our limited resources. If you have too many projects underway at the same time, it doesn't matter how you manage them, they will never be smooth. All right, so these are the layers of management where OMIMO wants to focus on. The first module that was created here was P3 Express. It was created in 2016, almost 10 years ago. After that, based on the suggestions of the community, another module called NOOP was created in 2019. NOOP stands for Nearly Universal Principles of Projects. It's a set of guiding principles that can help you in any project, even those that use a method other than P3 Express. Now, P3 Express was created for small, medium, and large projects, not necessarily the mega or micro projects. As it gradually became more popular, we noticed many people were using it in micro projects. They were happy with it, but it wasn't a perfect match. So we created Micro P3 Express in 2022 to better support those people. The next module came in 2024, P5 Express. It's a portfolio management method. And finally, this year, we have the P1 Express for task management. There are 2 remaining main modules that we'll have in the future. P4 Express for change management will be developed in 2026, and the team management project module, P2 Express, will be created in 2027. So these were the main modules, the horizontal modules that belong to only one layer of management, but we can also have the vertical modules usable in multiple layers. In 2025, we had our first vertical module, the Leader's Behavior Compass. It explains the desirable behaviors of leaders. And in the future, we'll have more vertical modules. Now, when we created more modules, we realized that they should have a unifying core. It was created in 2024, and it was named with the help of the community. The name is, of course, OMIMO, which stands for Open Minimalist Modules. Being open means that there are no restrictions and you can use them in any way you want without asking for permission. It's similar to the concept of free and open source software. All modules are minimalist, meaning that they avoid clutter by focusing on the essentials. That makes them easier to learn, easier to use, and easier to teach. Finally, these are modular, meaning that you can mix and match them with each other or even with modules outside OMIMO. So for example, if you decide to use P5Express for managing your portfolios, you're not limited to using P3Express and Micro P3Express for managing your projects. P5Express is carefully designed to work well with all types of project management. So that was an overview of the context in which OMIMO operates and a short reminder of our core development principles. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat or in the comments, and we'll happily answer them at the end of the event. Carla, over to you.
Thank you, Erin, for the overview. Before we go deeper into the achievements of 2025, we turn to the people who make them possible, our volunteers, contributors, and community members. You build, you translate, you teach, test, and share. You keep the momentum. You make the magic happen. The OMIMO community spans the world. We asked members to tell us who they are and where they are from, and how they contribute. What you will see is a reminder that OMIMO is more than a set of methods. It is a collective of committed people who believe in making management accessible to all. Let's hear from them.
Dzień dobry, jestem Ela z Warszawy.
دكتورة نجوى شاهين، المملكة العربية السعودية.
Terveisiä Suomesta.
Ik ben Gregor vanuit België.
Kahraman Maraşlıyım.
Leonora Garcia.
İş Vilnius.
İstanbul'dan merhabalar.
Привет из Сербии.
Portugal.
Hello from the northeast of England.
من سفیر پیتر اکسپرس در ایران هستم.
Žir Pužeč, Peter Express.
Я помогаю развивать Peter Express.
Emiliani Olidari Peter Express Nigeria user.
I reviewed P1 Express.
ساهمت مع OMIMO في مراجعة وترجمة P5 Express.
P3 Express naudoju, mokydamas organizacijas, kaip efektyviai valdyti projektus.
I am an accredited Micro P3 Express trainer.
Medium School, Peter Express, Micro Peter Express,
Използвам методологията при обучение на студенти от магистърска програма по управление на проекти в Университета за национално и световно стопанство в София, България.
سبسم انضمام تمسوي براكتيكا من مناجمين البروجكت.
لأن النجاح لا يحتاج إلى تعقيد، بل إلى منهج ذكي وواضح.
Ponieważ jest przyjazny i wdrażany.
Потому что это меняет жизни наших учеников.
کمینه‌گرا و کاربردیه.
لأن النجاح لا يحتاج إلى تعقيد بل إلى منهج ذكي وواضح.
Because it is simple and saves me time.
Because it's effective.
Porque es minimalista.
Because it connects me with a great community.
OMIMO.
Thank you to everyone who shared a clip. Seeing the community gives energy and purpose. Now, from people to progress. Let's look at what we built together in 2025. This is the story your effort made possible. Joining us to share more about our work in 2025 is Brian Baker. Brian, over to you.
Thanks, Carla. 2025 was a busy year for OMIMO. The community contributors have made significant progress. In terms of content, 2 new modules, Leadership Behaviour Compass, the guide towards taking more effective action, and P1 Express, individual task management, have been added. More details later in the show with a session about each and how they work. Zooming out, another important milestone is the addition of OMIMO vision and mission statements. These are not typical flabby bureaucratic statements that have no impact, rather carefully crafted meaningful guides that show us the path forward. There will be a session about them later in the show. Beside the content-oriented achievements, we also have a technical one. OMIMO has a new website. Although you're unlikely to notice, as the look and feel has remained the same, behind the scenes, a lot of technical changes have been made. We'll cover these in a later session. Going forward, remember independent user groups from last year? This year, group peer reviews. Curious? Stay tuned. Back in the project ecosystem, there are now micro P3 Express certification and accreditation. Last but not least, translations. If you'd like to help, get in touch. Back to you, Carla.
Thank you, Brian, for reviewing what we have built the last year. Behind every new model, user group, every translation, there are people, time and a lot of care. A heartfelt thank to everyone involved. To appreciate the scale of what this community has built, let's put the story into numbers and see how far OMIMO has grown in 2025. Annelies Vlierlink will talk us through the numbers. Annelies, over to you.
Thank you, Carla. Now, let's share some facts behind our numbers of 2025. Well, we are very proud to announce that our community of active contributors is growing and growing over a total of 280 persons that help us in develop and release our new modules, as well as having an increase on this of 12% compared to last year. So very big achievement here. We're also doing very well in terms of language translations. For P3 Express, we have it available in about 31 different languages, new in 24, P5 Express and Micro P3 Express in 10 and 7, and also for our new release tools, P1 Express and Compax, which are still in draft version, we actually like to announce that if you scan this QR code, you will be able to get an announcement when they are ready and help us in translation of these modules as well. So here again, we ask you to become an active contributor so that you can help us in the translations of all these tools. But let's think about it. It means actually that 89% of our users are using the tool set in their own language, which is a great feature. This is going to be the best figure of this evening. So let's look at the number of users of our products. P3 Express has an amount of users close to 250,000 users. That is a big achievement for this year. Noob is following very closely, about 64,000, while P5 Express and Micro P3 Express are closely around 40,000 people. And also, our draft versions of P1 Express and Compax are running already with some visitors that are looking into these modules and are very interested in their translated versions. You can scan this QR code and there also do some data analytics on these numbers, and you will find there the growth actually of our community and our active users per module. So if you scan this QR code, you will find the graphics for each module and the amount of users per year. Now, we all know that OMIMO is free for everyone to be trained on, but we do offer, in terms of quality perspective, also packages to become an accredited trainer. So we have today for P3 Express 58 accredited trainers, and for Micro P3 Express 15. So this was the overview of this year's figures. I'm curious how they will evolve in the future. Over to you, Carla.
Thank you, Annelies. Thank you. Impressive results. Seeing it in numbers makes one thing very clear. OMIMO is alive, is growing, and that growth is yours. Every translation, every visit to the modules, every accredited trainer, every contribution adds up to this picture we just saw. Now that we have felt the scale, let's go closer. In the next part, a closer look at the growing ecosystem. We will see what is behind these numbers, the new modules, the practices, and the organizations putting OMIMO modules in use. To understand what is new in OMIMO, we will start with why. Over the past year, we have worked together on a clear vision and mission, not as a decoration on a slide, but as a practical compass for everything we build and how we support this community. To share that foundation and what it means for the next steps in our ecosystem, I'm happy to hand over to 𝘎𝘳𝘰𝘸𝘪𝘯𝘨. Hannah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Carla. As we have discussed before, in the last year, we did a very good achievement in the development of the vision and mission. So, this evening, I will take you through what we did develop. I know you might be thinking, what could be the mission and vision of OMIMO? We had differences that we have, but through the community contribution, we came with an OMIMO vision for you. So, some of you may be thinking that to develop a vision is wanting to be the #1 source of project management. For us as OMIMO, we feel that this is a little bit unrealistic and also a little bit too commercial. So we ruled this one out. We then thought, let's envision, let's dig deeper and see what really speaks for OMIMO. So zooming in, what we envision is that we target our projects to be run efficiently, and by this I mean that they can be run with the limited resources that we have. Secondly, we want them to fulfill their purpose, so they need to be realistic and not just idealistic. And the third thing is that we want to develop projects that leave a positive social and ethical footprint. So the vision of us keeps on improving, and we believe that by doing this, we are creating better projects, and we are improving the world at large, and hopefully we are doing this for everyone. So this was the first thing that we did for OMIMO. But to be able to achieve our vision, we needed to develop a mission statement. Our mission statement is very, very long, but this evening, walk with me as we break it down. We looked at the project ecosystem that we developed. As the previous speaker said, that we have already 5 layers of project management, and these are the layers. You already saw this slide before. Then we wanted to have modules that are very, very realistic. This means that they can be achieved to meet the local problems that we have. They can be achieved to meet the social problems that we have and the common problems that we have. So we don't want hypothetical mission. And lastly, what we did is that we zoomed into what OMIMO is. If you don't know what OMIMO is, I remind you again, it's open minimalistic modules. So we try to see through these three fundamental attributes of OMIMO, how can we be able to achieve our vision? The first one was that we want to have our modules to be very free, and that I mean that their copyright, the intellectual property is not limited. You can use them for as long as you want, and this freedom will not be revoked in the future. Isn't that good news? The second thing is that our modules will be minimalistic. They will be very direct to the point. The systems will be very easy to use. And we take pride in this because we believe it is through this that we have been able to have OMIMO modules successful in the past. So we will try to keep them free from distraction, because when you are not distracted, you can do important things in a better way. And the last one was the modules. The good thing is that you can use these modules now both together. They are compatible, both the non-OMIMO modules and OMIMO modules. By this I mean that, for example, if you use all of these modules at once, it's very, very, very overwhelming. So you can use, for example, the P5 Express for portfolio management, as well as use another module that is non-OMIMO, and that is completely fine. These modules have actually been defined and designed for that. But this to be met, we have to meet two conditions. We are very, very grateful to you for your continued contribution, because by supporting us, giving us community contribution, keeps this going. And secondly, how we're going to meet this condition is that we continue to comply with the General Code of Conduct of OMIMO. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I come to the end of this session, I would do a recap of what we just talked about, is that our vision, we will be able to develop the management modules on the project's ecosystem. We want to continue keeping them as realistic as they can, and still we remain to be ambitious, and we want to be able to meet the fundamental attributes of OMIMO, which is being open, being minimalistic, and that these modules can be compatible with both non-OMIMO and OMIMO modules. So thank you for continuing to give us your voluntary contribution to this community and continuing to comply with the Code of Conduct. We believe, because this has been on the review in 2025, that this vision and mission will be our guiding compass going forward. Thank you very, very much. And before I leave, if you still have questions and comments, do not forget to put them on the chat. We will be very, very happy to answer them at the end of this session. And back to you, Kala.
Thank you, Hannah. These guiding principles are also the reason why many public organizations, universities, and companies adopt our modules. We have interviewed a few impressive organizations on why they use OMIMO modules and value our mission and core development principles. Let's listen to Flanders Make, a research center for industrial innovation in Brussels that uses P3 Express across their organization with their 250 partner companies.
I'm Steve van der Plas. I am PMO manager at Flanders Make. Flanders Make is a research center for the manufacturing industry. My role is to support project practices across the organization.
My name is Elisabeth van Gothem. I work at the PMO closely with Steve, and one of the things I'm working at is making project management more accessible and more effective for everyone involved.
Vlaanders Make is a strategic research center supported by the Flemish government and also by the European Regional Development Fund. Our mission is to strengthen the competitiveness of the Flemish industry through high-quality industry-driven research in areas like mechatronics, product development, advanced manufacturing. We operate across 3 co-creation centers and across university co-labs. We support a community of 1,000 researchers. Our project portfolio includes more than 50 long-term covenant projects. These are projects funded by Vlaanders Make, and beside that we also have leverage projects like B2B EU-funded projects and other income projects. This diversity means that we need robust, flexible project management structures and frameworks.
Our project leads are often researchers, not professional project managers. What they need are clear and practical guidelines without any unnecessary complexity. So adopting 𝗙𝗺𝘃 and what we like is the minimalist project management roadmap allows us to offer structure without any unnecessary complexity. We do have a PMO handbook, but what we actually want to offer the project leads is a step-by-step approach based on the steps of a life cycle of a project. That way they should be able to find in an easier way what next to do without being overwhelmed by information they don't need at that point.
Vlaanders Make runs a wide variety of projects. Each of them with different requirements and reporting needs. Modularity allows to layer a project type specific information on top of a shared structure, so project leads can see immediately what is different and what's the same. So this flexibility is crucial in our multi-stakeholder environment where you have different governance and reporting needs which can change from projects to projects.
For us, the fact that it's open is very important because Vlaanders Make is a research organization, a network organization. That means that the people working in projects work within Vlaanders Make, but also at the universities and even in industry partners. So openness means that we can share our tools across all partners. And that's very important because all the people working in projects need to work towards their innovation goals. Our goal is to offer tools that people actually want to use and that are helpful in the collaboration and foster continuous improvement.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Steve. It's inspiring to see how innovation projects work with 𝗙𝗺𝘃 to deliver their outputs. We already heard that Vlaanders Make works closely with different universities. Let's now turn to a different university, the University for National and World Economy in Bulgaria. We'll hear from the director of the Institute for Postgraduate Studies on why they use and teach the OMIMO modules.
Здравейте, казвам се доцент доктор Георги Николов и съм директор на Института за следдипломна квалификация при УНСС. Аз съм заместник декан на факултет управление и администрация. В учебния план има дисциплини свързани с управлението на проектите, тъй като ние главно работим с управлението на регионите, а управлението на проектите в тях е изключително важно. От друга страна, тъй като ние обучаваме нашите студенти и курсисти в две направления. Едното е публичен сектор, едното е частен сектор. По отношение на частния сектор, пък управлението на проектите има за задача да развива и да надгражда нашата икономика, защото специално за България ние имаме още дълъг път да извървим към икономически растеж, тъй като едва около 30% от брутния вътрешен продукт се произвежда от реална индустрия. Поделянето на знания и осъществяването на трансфер на знания в Европейския съюз е ключово за нашето общо развитие. Един такъв отворен достъп дава допълнителна възможност на хора, които са извън тези сектори, но биха желали в бъдеще да се надградят в това научно направление или в чисто приложен аспект. Това е незаменима помощ и подкрепа за тях, защото могат в удобно за тях време, от удобно за тях място да имат достъп до тези споделени знания, които са направени по изключително лесен и достъпен начин за самите обучаеми. През повече от 15 годишния ми опит като преподавател мога да кажа, че възможностите, които OMIMO дава чрез формирането на отделни модули и обединяването им в общ продукт, изключително добре се възприема от обучаемите, тъй като не е добре да даваме голям обем от знания на студентите и курсистите, защото те после трудно го асимилират.
Thank you, Ґеорги. We are always very happy to work with universities. Now let's listen to another very special organization who is using P3Express. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. We'll listen to a short interview with Mohammed Hassan, PMO Manager, on why they value the core of the OMIMO principles in their work.
My name is Hassan, and I'm currently leading project management and operations team in the private sector partnership of UN High Commissioner for Refugees. Over the past 10 years, I have been involved in large and small scale projects spanning more than 20 countries in the world, where I'm helping people in terms of strategic planning, executing of the project, and humanitarian operations at the same time. I would say UNHCR can have a lot of different projects, from the protection projects and humanitarian assistance across the world. It can have highly technical IT-related projects that is related to business transformation, and a lot of fundraising projects that are related to marketing and campaigns to raise funds for people struggling in different parts of the world. When in school, we were solving a lot of mathematical problems. The achievement was primarily that we solved something complex, right? And as we progress in the professional world, I think the success is to keep things simple. And that's where I would say the minimalism come, and especially with OMIMO and the project management training we did with P3Express and P5Express. What the team really liked is the minimalism, the simplicity of the process and the project management. So I think minimalism is the ethos of UNHCR, to keep things simple, focused, so that we have a sense of direction, and then we focus on the objectives we wish to achieve. I would say we have failed in the past by devising complex big system that cannot be tailored to all the audiences. How world is shifting and how fast it's shifting, the adaptability is really important. For instance, we have some massive operations that are so big, and suddenly with the change of shift in the focus, they can become smaller or bigger. So that's where modularity helps. It keeps us agile. It's really helping us to navigate multiple stakeholders and teams that are delivering on different perspectives. In my opinion, openness really connects with the ethos of our organization that encourages knowledge sharing, transparency, and building a community as a whole. OMIMO's Creative Commons licenses, P3Express and P5Express, would really help to make this years of knowledge that is built into these modules for project management, making it readily available for our colleagues in headquarters, our colleagues in field, and especially more often with national partners and the partners we are working with, to have a joint venture to promote the project management practices across our organization. So I think the openness really helps in, building and developing the knowledge with a shared common sense of delivering projects and very complex projects of UNHCR for very important people in need.
Inspiring testimony from an organization that does incredible work. Now it's time to look more closely at some of the new modules developed last year. P1 Express is a personal task management system that was launched a few months ago. To tell you more about it, I'll give the word to Niels Jonge. Niels, over to you.
Thank you, Carla. Most of us have multiple sources of tasks. We have tasks related to multiple projects and tasks related to semi-projects as well, like those related to operations. All of this can quickly become overwhelming if we don't manage them well. How many of you start with a to-do list and we put items on it, and at a certain moment the list is full, and then we tell ourselves, I will put them in my head. And then we start a second to-do list for those extra tasks until that one also gets to full. Then we tell ourselves once more, I will remember them. P1 Express solves this. The main goal of P1 Express is to help manage tasks and reduce your cognitive load. And hopefully, your quality of life will be higher as well, with a higher productivity. Having this module in your project ecosystem is very helpful, because when your members become better at managing their tasks, their performance will be higher, there will be more innovation, and they will collaborate better. All of these things make the management of those higher levels much easier. Most task management systems are based on the prioritizing system. P1 Express uses a postponing system. This is the biggest difference between the two of them. A prioritizing system orders tasks based on their priority. The ones with the highest priority go on the very first place. The ones with the least priority go on the bottom of the list. And when you want to work on your list, you start with the very first one. P1 Express, the postponing system, works differently. We have a very small list of active tasks. And if we see that we are not able to do a task today, we postpone it to the first realistically date in the future to reschedule it. The task will be removed of your active list, and your list will always be very short. Prioritizing systems are common in different types of work. They can be used in a finite set of tasks, for example, one project. And there is an end of this projects. No more tasks will be added to the list. But sometimes you also have semi-infinite sets of tasks. All the other tasks, your friends, family, and so on. There are always new tasks to add. In finite sets of tasks, a prioritizing system might work in some projects, but not in all projects. In semi-infinite sets of tasks, it doesn't work. There are too many things to add. The major problem is here, tasks go to the bottom of the list because new tasks are always added with a higher priority, leaving those tasks at the bottom. That's what we call buried tasks. You feel overwhelmed when you look at the list because you see a mountain of things to do. That's where the P1 Express makes the difference. There are no buried tasks because the list is very small. And this gives a lot of mental space. P1 Express uses a postponing system in its task management. And there are 4 cycles how we work. We have our daily cycle, our weekly cycle, our monthly cycle, and our yearly cycle. Let's first start with the daily cycle, with D4. That's something that you do at the end of your workday. What are you going to do? You're going to look at the list of tasks for tomorrow and the list of tasks that you have not finished today. If needed, you already postpone a few tasks to the future. At the beginning of the day, you start with D1 and D2. That's just starting with your task list and finish a few of them. And during the day, you will identify new tasks that you need to reschedule, postpone, or just finish in the moment. D3 is a special activity. Your system will bring a random postponed task to today. That's to break your routine and remember all the exciting things you always wanted to do. And at the end of the day, we do D4 again, schedule or plan your next day. When we look to our weekly task, C1, the goal here is to find and fix your sources of mental energy lost. How do we do that? We go through the task that you have finished or cancel during that week. If you find a reason why you are not as productive as you wanted to be, you create a task. When you have the task, you schedule or postpone it to a day in the future if you cannot solve it right away. Then we have our monthly task, B1. A common problem is that we are drowned in very small tasks. And we forget the high-level goals. So what do we do here? We review what we have done in the last month and how they contributed to the bigger picture, to the high-level goals. Once a year, A1, we set the goals that we just talked about. And A2, that's clean up the full list. You go through the full list and you clean it up. That's how P1 Express is in a very short overview. Take a look at the website. You find a lot of manuals there, and it's full of useful tips. And the method has already been successful based on the feedback of our early adapters. If you have any questions, put them in the chat or in the comments, and we are happy to answer them at the end of the event. Carla, back to you.
Thank you, Niels. P1 Express is a beautiful example on how OMIMO creates something practical we can actually use tomorrow. To make it more concrete, let us hear from someone who put it into practice. It is a short testimonial. Amir Eshani, who is an early adopter of P1 Express, shares how it helps him manage his tasks. Let's take a look.
I'm Amir Eshani. I'm a freelancer mainly, and usually I have multiple projects going on. One of them is main project, and the others are support of the previous projects, looking for new project, and also my own personal projects and hobbies such as archery, photography, and things like that. To make it more organized, I tried different things. The methods I went for were mainly things based on priority lists. And the problem with priority lists is that you should put something at the top of the list and then pick from the top. And there are always things which would fall down and you never check them. So I used a paper-based task board, and I used Trello and other, but it didn't solve the problem actually. When I found out about P1 Express, the thing which I liked most was that P1 Express is not a priority list. it's about postponing, and I like the idea of postponing. I don't have time for doing that thing now. So, okay, I would postpone it to when I can do that, and it's realistic to do that. I started using 𝗙𝗺𝘰𝗺𝘃, and now I have one single board for it, and that single board has anything I want to do at the day which we are at. In the morning, I check out the board and I check what I'm supposed to do today. So it reduces the mental load extremely. And I did the things which I usually never get to doing them because they were at the bottom of the priority list. But I wanted to do them, and also I nagged myself a lot about forgetting them and leaving them behind. At first, I started using Windows file system for managing 𝗙𝗺𝘰𝘺𝘃, but that also didn't work well for me. So I went for 𝗎𝘎𝘰𝘺. I make different notebooks for doing postponed, finished, and cancelled ones, and just drag and drop notes from this one to that one to have my doing or cancelled lists. The biggest change is how I feel. I feel more comfortable about doing tasks during days, and I don't have that constant nagging in my head anymore. And now, when I have a new task coming to my mind during doing another task, I just write it down and postpone on a time when you feel it's realistic doing that. And that's that. So you go back to the thing you were working on and you don't switch the task, and that will increase the performance.
Now we move from the individual back to the community. One of the powerful developments in OMIMO is that people do not just use the modules, they come together around them. Last year, we introduced independent user groups, small local or online communities where practitioners meet and they share experiences. They help each other to apply the OMIMO modules in real projects. This year, we refined the concept and added a new format, the P3 Express Group Peer Review. To tell us where user groups are active today, how the peer review works, and how you can join or start a group, I am happy to hand over to Quinten van der Heijden. Quinten, over to you.
Thank you, Carla. Good evening. Tonight I want to talk about something very simple. Group managers meeting group managers. Last year on this stage, we introduced independent user groups. We defined them as communities built around a common language, region, or context, but all focused on the same goal: exploring OMIMO modules and sharing what works with their projects. We wanted to create a safe place where people could help each other create better projects, and not by webinars, buzzwords, or chasing the latest trend, but by really sharing their experiences and getting concrete feedback. A safe place to say, hey, here's my project, let's talk about what we can improve. And since then, 5 user groups have been launched, and 2 more are starting up. But even better, we see a global rising interest in starting and founding user groups. But we need to be honest with you. It wasn't easy. In fact, it is very difficult. We sat down with every user group leader, and we talked to them, and we listened. And we heard very consistent remarks. They believe in OMIMO, luckily. They want to contribute, but they struggle to find real activities, real practical value they can give to you. So they didn't want to do webinars or one-way lectures or just another slideshow. We bundled all the feedback and we came back with one format. The format is group peer meeting reviews. Let's talk about how it works. So it has three phases. The first phase is the project presentation. A project presenter comes forward and he gives a project presentation, a project he is involved in. The meeting will consist of 6 to 20 people, and some of those will get an active role. But in the first phase, the project presenter comes forward. He gives a project he is involved in, and he goes on. He goes on into 2 management activities he wants to discuss at that moment. 3 to 4 minutes, he will discuss all the aspects of his project. He can use any management method he wants, even no management method at all. So he has a lot of freedom, so use it wisely. And in the second phase, the peer reviewer comes into play. The peer reviewer are 3 appointed peer reviewers who come forward after the project presenter, and they give feedback, supportive feedback on how the project presenter did, but also what can go better in his project or what can be improved. After their peer review, we start with PM on the spot. This is a fun little game. A member comes forward and he talks about the project management challenge. For example, you take over mid-project as a PM and you notice that the team is super unmotivated. What's the first thing you'll do? Everyone who is at that moment in the meeting can come on stage and give their solution to this problem. Now, how are we going to do this? The meeting is going to take an hour and a half, and it can run anywhere in the world. This means it's not limited to official user groups only. You can run it at your company, outside of your company, among friends, or even among your enemies if you really want to. Now, how? We'll get you equipped with a short meeting manual on how to organize these meetings, but also more importantly, the responsibilities. Now, what's in it for the attendees? You'll get a chance to hear real, honest feedback on real projects. But not only that, you'll get a safe space to practice public speaking, giving feedback, critical thinking, but also a chance to network because you're among project managers. And you'll get real inspiration from those real projects. So, if you're sitting there right now thinking, this could be something for me, now we want to give you an opportunity, a real opportunity to help out. If you want to join a showcase session soon, or you want to learn more, or even take on a promoter role, then you can scan the QR code on screen appearing right now. And be fast, because it's not going to be there forever. So, at the end of the day, it is very important to remember that we can't roll out this format worldwide or improve it if we don't get your help. Because at the end of the day, OMIMO is you, in your context, learning from real projects. So let's fill the coming year with group peer review meetings. Thank you. Carla, back to you.
Thank you, Quinten. It's nice to hear how local communities are developing user groups and the work that is being done with the group peer reviews. One more time, if you are interested in participating, you can email usergroups@omimo.org. Let's now hear from another organization who is putting OMIMO modules to work. This time we go to Saudi Arabia, where REFAC, an NGO working with orphans, is using P3 Express to manage their projects. Let's listen to their story.
معكم 𝗙𝗿ecie𝗄𝗶𝘆 مدير مكتب إدارة المشاريع المكلف في جمعية رفاق لرعاية الأيتام بمنطقة حائل. طبعا دورنا في المكتب هو تقديم الدعم والمساندة ومتابعة جودة تنفيذ المشاريع وكذلك الالتزام بالمواعيد. طبيعة عملنا في رفاق تقديم الرعاية والكفالة والتمكين للأيتام عبر تقديم عدد من البرامج والمشاريع التي تمكن الأيتام تعليميا وقيميا. وعادة حجم هذه المشاريع يكون من صغير إلى متوسط، وعدد الفرق من 5 أعضاء إلى تقريبا 30 عضو، لهدف تعزيز الكفاءة التشغيلية. كذلك في بعد التعلم والنمو وتعزيز القدرات الموارد البشرية لابد من تطوير إدارة المشاريع في المنظمة. في جمعية رفاق قبل استخدام منهجية 𝗙𝗎𝘂𝗺𝘃 كنا نستخدم عدد من المنهجيات في إدارة المشاريع. واجهنا عدد من التحديات مثل صعوبة هذه المنهجيات وعدم استيعاب الفريق بالكامل للمنهجية، وكذلك تعقيدها في بعض الخطوات. أثرت هذه التحديات على جودة تنفيذ المشاريع وكذلك الالتزام بالخطط للمشاريع. من العوامل الرئيسية التي جعلتنا نستخدم 𝗙𝗎𝘂𝗺𝘃 هو وضوح هذه المنهجية وبساطتها، وكذلك سهولة تدريب وتمكين فريق المنظمة على هذه المنهجية. الاعتماد المنهجية تم خلال النصف الثاني من عام 2024 تجربتها على عدد من المشاريع، وكذلك حصول الأستاذ فهد الجزاع على الاعتماد لتدريب هذه المنهجية، وبعد ذلك قام بتدريب أكثر من 35 موظف وموظفة في الجمعية وحصولهم على اعتماد للمنهجية. قمنا باعتماد نماذج موحدة لإدارة المشاريع تعتمد اعتماد كلي على منهجية 𝗙𝗎𝘂𝗺𝘃، وحاولنا أن تكون سهلة وواضحة لمدير المشروع وفريقه. احتجنا أن يكون مدير المشروع حاصل على اعتماد في المنهجية، وعبر اللقاءات الدورية والخطابات المركزة حصلنا على التعاون والتكامل بين الفرق. لاحظنا التزام أكبر في تطبيق خطوات المنهجية، كذلك الحصول على جودة أعلى في تنفيذ المخرجات. من أهم الفوائد التي حصلنا عليها هي استيعاب كامل فريق المنظمة للمشاريع القائمة في المنظمة، وذلك لأن من خطوات المنهجية الاحتفالات وإرسال الخطابات التوجيهية المركزة. كذلك التزام مدراء المشاريع وفرقهم بخطوات تنفيذ المشاريع لسهولة ووضوح الأدوار. نتوقع أن تؤثر هذه الفوائد على رفع جودة مخرجات المشاريع وكذلك زيادة احترافية فريق المنظمة، مما يساهم في تحقيق الأهداف الاستراتيجية للجمعية وزيادة الأثر على المستفيد. لتوسيع استخدام المنهجية نعمل حاليا على أتمتة جميع خطوات المنهجية في النظام الخاص بالجمعية، وكذلك ربط المخرجات بالأهداف الاستراتيجية مع محافظتنا على وضوح وسهولة الخطوات. ننصح المنظمات الأخرى باعتماد منهجية 𝗙𝗎𝘂𝗺𝘃 في نظامها لإدارة المشاريع، وذلك لسهولة المنهجية ووضوحها، سهولة تدريب وتمكين فريق المنظمة على المنهجية بعيداً عن تعقيد وصعوبة المنهجيات الأخرى في إدارة المشاريع.
An inspiring story. Let's now move to the second new module of OMIMO, the Leadership Compass. The Leadership Compass was created based on a request by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Commission. It is a behavioral model that should serve as a compass for leaders in the project management ecosystem. To hear more about it, let's turn to 𝗙𝗫𝘃 Gholsha. 𝗙𝗫𝘃, over to you.
Thanks, Carla. Hello, everyone. Another module that was added to OMIMO in 2025 was the Leader's Behavior Compass. It's still a draft, but the final version will be out soon. When we talk about leaders, it's about many people in the project ecosystem. It covers portfolio managers, program managers, project managers, team managers, and as well as other management roles in the project ecosystem. It even includes leaders who are not managers. Based on definitions, each manager is a leader, but some leaders are not managers. The compass was not planned for 2025. But the European Commission asked OMIMO for it, and OMIMO changed its plan. Now, let's look at the compass and see what's special about it. Most resources talk about skills. But the compass is about behaviors. Behaviors are the result of skills, habits, beliefs, and so on. The difference is that when we talk about skills, we are usually misled by buzzwords. Skills are abstract, and it's a little difficult to understand. Behaviors, on the other hand, are measurable and actionable. It's easy to judge whether you have the desired behaviors in you, or whether a person you have in mind for a management role has such a behavior. Now, let's look at the next slide. This is the behavioral model used in Compass. As you can see, it has 7 categories. You can find 10 to 5 of the most important behaviors listed for each category in the manual. The way these categories are arranged is important. Solution is in the center, meaning that it's the ultimate reason why we need to have leaders. We need leaders to create solutions, or more commonly, to get people together to create solutions. And solution can be the answer to a puzzle, a resolution of a conflict, or even the whole project or a program. What appears to be the best solution may not be very good. We learn more about the environment, and sometimes even environment can change. This is why it's important to continuously revise solutions and adapt to our environment. Now, I will use a simple example. Imagine you are on a car ride. The planned route is your solution. You start driving. In the middle of the way, there is a roadwork. The rest of the route is not accessible, and you have to choose a new route. This is where you adapt. And where we have in our compass the next category. When you're let's continue with the car ride analogy. When you're confident about your route, you want to reach your destination faster, and that is efficiency. However, where there is a pothole, you want to avoid it, and that's self-guarding, the next category. But it's not important how well you avoid a pothole or a similar trouble. You may hit a few. When so, you don't want your car to break or fall apart, and that's resilience. These were the first rings in the compass. In order to design a good solution, to adapt, to be efficient, to avoid troubles, to make sure that your journey is not broken, and even if there is a problem, you need to get help from multiple people. It is impossible to do everything by yourself. This is why we have people as a next category, where we discuss desired behaviors you need to have to work with people. And because it is related to people, you need to be ethical. This was the compass. As I said in the beginning, it's still a draft. After it's finalized, there will be a self-assessment. I could not play it in the slide. There will be an option for the facilitators and trainers where the participants of the workshops can take the self-assessment. There will be also a suggested list of topics that cover the workshops. and it maximizes the overall improvements without leaving anyone behind. There will be also a curated list of resources that one can use to learn these skills. Thanks for your attention. We'll go back to Carla.
Thank you, 𝘖𝘕. Now we return to a module many of you discovered in last year's forum, P5 Express, the Minimalist Portfolio Management System. One of the organizations that has embraced P5 Express is 𝗖𝘎𝘕, the public agency in Catalonia, responsible for land and housing development. Let's listen to their story.
I'm Elizabeth. I'm a trainer and consultant in project management. Currently, I'm working as an external expert at 𝗖𝘎𝘕, helping them to design and implement a portfolio management system. 𝗖𝘎𝘕 is a Catalan government organization which is responsible for public landing and housing development in Catalonia. 𝗖𝘎𝘕 has around 300 employees and is facing around 300 projects per year. One of the key items in Catalan government is to provide with 50,000 social housing in the next 5 years, which is going to be a real challenge for 𝗖𝘎𝘕. 𝗖𝘎𝘕 has been designing a portfolio management system for the last years internally, and I was brought in as part of an external team to help them with the design and implementation of this portfolio management system. The first step that we did was to look at and study what they had done previously. The main issue we found was too much complexity, trying to gather all data and reaching a perfection, and also that it was really not adapted to their needs. So what we did is just adapt an opposite point of view, going to a minimalist system with less features and really adapted to their needs. We decided to implement P5 Express in the two main portfolios that 𝗖𝘎𝘕 has: land development and housing development. We made all this design with a team of 20 people, and we adapted P5 Express processes, roles, routines, and information flow to adapt it in the way they already work to make it more easier for them. For my teammate, 𝗙𝗻𝘕𝘀𝘍𝑗 and myself, this was a real challenge because we had to design this portfolio management system within only 2 months. P5 Express, Minimalist, really helped us to focus on what was really critical and avoid everything that was superficial and really didn't add value to the portfolio management system. During the design phase, we interviewed the stakeholders all across the organization, and we found two main challenges. One, a very high intake of projects, with several projects coming in every week. And a second one, there was non-uniform acceptance criteria for the projects. It was not only a financial threat load, but also a social impact related with government policies. And then a constraint, a very huge constraint in a very rigid organizational structure, designed and ruled by a government law. P5 Express offers a value matrix that is able to feed all these needs: the social impact, the financial threshold, and also this fixed organizational structure. The leadership team, including the CEO, were very, very pleased with the final results. They thought that it's really very visual, easy to understand, which will make it easy to promote across all the organization, those 3,000 employees they have. Now we are in the implementing phase, and we're really very excited to see how it works out.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thanks to 𝗖𝘎𝘕 for sharing this story. It shows how a minimalist approach can work at an incredible scale on public projects that matter. Now we move to another cornerstone of the growing ecosystem, the new OMIMO website, built to be more inclusive, more accessible, usable even with limited connectivity, and lighter for the planet. To explain what has changed and why it matters, Antoine Nowakowski will help us take a closer look. Antoine, take it away.
Thank you very much, Carla. So let's talk about the new website. Until recently, OMIMO has its own website, and we also had a website for each of its modules. It was working quite well, but we really wanted to be more efficient because of our growing ecosystem. So we rebuilt, we redesigned, and the idea was to build a website where all OMIMO and its modules would live under the same roof. So as you can see, the new website, omimo.org, is already online. And you have OMIMO, P1 Express, and Compass already inside. The other modules are expected to be gradually integrated to it within the next year. This upgrade is really something where we thought it would be easier for our audience to find. The website would be easier for our audience to find, but it would be also easier to maintain and easier to grow. But it is not only an upgrade for us, it is also a way for us to show OMIMO's value. So we set up 3 clear goals, and this is what we are going to discuss tonight. First, accessibility. We really want to reach as many people as possible, whether they have disabilities or not. We also want to reach as many people as possible all around the world, whether they have good or not good internet connection. Sometimes you even have regions where you have no internet connection at all. And the third point, our third goal, is to be as eco-friendly as possible. So let's discuss these 3 topics together, but also with the help of some experts that are really used to work on these topics every day. Accessibility. Accessibility is really on OMIMO's DNA. All our methods are translated in many, many different languages. But it only matters if people can use these languages. To understand why accessibility is really a top priority for European projects, but also for OMIMO, we have asked Isabella Livotti. Isabella is European Horizontal Priorities Officer, and we have asked her to share her perspective on this topic. Let's have a look.
Accessibility is a very important topic for the Erasmus Plus program because the European Commission is bound by EU policies and strategies such as the European Disability Strategy 2130, which emphasizes removing barriers and promoting accessibility across all sectors. And of course, Erasmus Plus has to reflect those principles. According to the Council of the European Union, 1 in 4 adults in the European Union have a disability or some kind of long-term limitation in daily activities, which represents more or less 107 million people in the European Union alone. 1 in 5 of people between 20 and 26 are unemployed. 1 in 3 are at risk of poverty or social exclusion. And more importantly, for the Erasmus Plus program, 1 in 5 leave school early, which is double compared to non-disabled people. It represents 29% of students obtaining a tertiary degree, which is a post-secondary education, compared to 44% of people without disabilities. Accessibility ensures that all individuals can participate fully in education, training, and mobility projects. And this aligns, of course, with the core values of the European Union, like equality, human rights, and social inclusion. I actually read in an article not that long ago that in countries like Belgium, more than 90% of websites are not really accessible. So it's certainly one of the top priorities when developing new tools to make them as accessible as possible. So we really value projects like OMIMO, which develop modules to improve project management skills, because we think that really it's a life skill. Digital accessibility is important for equal opportunities in education. An accessible digital environment allows all learners to participate fully, to follow lessons independently, to reach their potential, which is pretty much the same in the professional context, where accessible platforms allow people to engage fully in their professional life, in training, in advancing in their careers. And we fund the development of tools in websites like that, like the OMIMO project, because it is very important that it's accessible to all.
So as highlighted by Isabella, it is not only a requirement to be accessible, it is also a necessity if you want to reach more and more people. So this is why we have worked a lot with our development team on OMIMO. We have worked on a platform that would meet all the latest requirement standards. The result, a platform which has all the accessibility requirement inside. We are going to now talk about some examples, some data, but before that, we needed to compare our website, OMIMO's website, with other websites. We have chosen, and they are listed here, we have project management resources, they are all listed here. The first example is the accessibility score according to Chrome Lighthouse. It is a scale from 0 to 100, 0 being the lowest, 100 being the highest. The lower you get, the lower the score, the less accessible your website is for people with disabilities. And as you can see, P1 Express in this example has reached the best grade. Second example, the accessibility errors according to ACTS. The lower the errors, the more accessible your website is for people with disabilities. And here you can see that P1 Express has no error at all. So it is really, really clear that for us, accessibility is important. We really want to reach as many people as possible, whether they have visual impairments, other accessibility needs, or not. But we also, and this is our second goal, we also want to reach people all around the world. To have equal opportunity, our second goal. It is true that in some region of the world, you can have difficulties with internet connection. It can be slow, it can be unstable, and it can be expensive. To talk a little bit more on this topic, we have asked 𝘎𝘳𝘰𝘺𝘪. He's the co-founder of 𝘬𝘰xe, a non-profit organization, but also a free and an open source project providing free educational content, and it's also an offline access. Let's have a look.
3 to 4 billion people have poor internet access, almost no connectivity. They could be in a desert, they could be in the mountains behind me. They could be in a rural area where there's no fiber and very poor networking. They could be in a refugee camp, they could be traveling, you name it. They could also be in a country where their government decided that access to information was not such a great idea and implement some sort of censorship. Or they could simply be poor. If you can't afford data, no matter how connected the place you live in is, if you can afford it, you are unconnected. You have no internet access. And that is obviously a tragedy. That's a tragedy we're trying to gap, because half of the world's population is getting 50 years behind the richest part. It took 50 years for the richest, freest part of the world to have access to all of that information. And, half of us are being left behind. That's not right. So what we do at 𝘘𝘰𝘺𝘀 is to crawl and harvest websites, much like Wikipedia, Stack Overflow, YouTube, and package that content, make it available offline so that you can browse it, you can download that content, put it on your phone, because if not everyone has access to connectivity, everyone has a phone nowadays. So you can download it and you can browse Wikipedia on your phone, even if you have no internet access. You can browse YouTube video, TED Talks, you can read the Gutenberg library, you name it. You can learn. You can learn without the internet. And our use cases are all around the world. We got 12, 15 million users, going up to 100, probably soon. And it is important. We're bringing that knowledge to everyone, and we're making sure that everyone will be able to process it, because at the end of the day, it makes us all better.
Thank you very much. So while OMIMO is getting global, access to bandwidth is not. In some regions of the world, even opening a single web page can be a barrier. Through the cooperation with 𝘘𝘰𝘺 Offline, OMIMO's methods, OMIMO's content is now available offline through ZIM packages. It concretely means that wherever you are in the world, you can now reach OMIMO's methods. So we are really happy about this. Wherever you are in the world and whatever your financial means are. But why are we talking about financial means now? It might be a little bit difficult to understand for many people, as they probably pay a monthly fixed fee for their internet connection. And this fee may be really small compared to their monthly income. But here you can see in this example that for some regions in the world, opening a single web page of one of our example here, project management resources, can cost them up to 3% of their monthly income. This is really, really, really a lot. Huh? So we at OMIMOs, we wanted to design and to build our website lean and light. So for the same example, we could reduce as much as possible the cost for these people in these regions of the world opening our web page. So it costs them 0.01% of their monthly income, but it's really almost 300 times less than for some other example here. So it is really, it was really important for us to design light and low, but also for our third and last goal, environment. It is really something that is going to help to build light and lean for the environment. Each website uses energy in data transmission, in devices, and we wanted to reduce as much as possible with OMIMO's team. We wanted to reduce our digital carbon footprint. To understand a little bit more about this topic, we have talked to Tim Frick. He is the founder and the president of Mightybytes. Mightybytes is the company behind EcoGrader, a tool that can measure the environmental impact of websites. Let's have a look.
Many people don't realize that websites have an environmental impact. Everything online requires energy, data centers, networks, end-user devices, and so on. The majority of this energy still comes from fossil fuels. Beyond operational use, there's also embodied energy and emissions from manufacturing hardware. What's more, planned obsolescence pushes frequent device replacement, and improperly disposed of hardware becomes e-waste, which drives pollution. In 2022 alone, the world produced 62 million tons of e-waste, a figure expected to exceed 82 million tons by 2030. That's a mountain of garbage equivalent to 255 skyscrapers, and very little of this waste is recycled. Plus, the internet scale is just massive. There are about 6 billion internet users around the world, and about 250,000 websites come online every single day. All of these challenges are accelerated by the rapid expansion of generative AI as well. At a global scale, the web's environmental impact is often compared to that of the commercial airline industry. However, with expected growth, it has the potential to become much, much larger. For websites, inefficient, poorly designed software and ineffective data strategies lead to unnecessary computation, faster hardware burnout, higher costs, a worse user experience, and more emissions. Conversely, efficient code, thoughtful content and data practices, and lean delivery reduce energy demand across the stack. To help organizations act, my company 𝗖𝘰𝘺𝘃 created a web sustainability tool called EcoGrader. The platform enables teams to measure and steadily improve the environmental impact of their digital products and services over time. For organizations like OMIMO, a sustainable web design offers a broader, holistic approach that aligns concrete climate action and environmental stewardship with overall strategy and day-to-day operations. With growing regulatory guidance supporting this direction, embedding web sustainability is a practical way to help mitigate the worst effects of climate change.
So, as you've just heard, the internet is as pollutive as the whole commercial airline industry. It is completely mad. But the internet is growing, and as it grows, it is getting even worse. It is with this in mind that we have redesigned OMIMO.org. We are now going to show, with the same example, the same websites we used before, but this time we are going to compare the grams of CO2 per page. And as you can see, 𝗙𝘰𝘺𝘃 is scoring very, very, very well with only 0.005 grams of CO2. So obviously the best here in this example, but also a top performer in its category. The second example, it's the number of HTTP requests. Obviously, the lower the number, the less pollutive you are. And you can see that 𝗙𝘰𝘺𝘃 is using only requests, only one HTTP, while most of the other examples we have here request more than 50 HTTP requests. And the last example we are going to show you is the size. Obviously, the bigger, the heavier your web page is, the slower it is going to be downloaded. But it's also not only a question of speed, it's also a question of energy. The bigger, the heavier, the more energy you are going to use, so obviously the more pollutive. So we wanted to build and to design lean and light to reduce as much as possible our digital carbon footprint. We are really, really happy because we have a growing audience. But as our audience is growing, we also feel that we have a responsibility to design sustainably. So that was it about the new website. We really, really, really hope that it can make more and more structured project management more accessible as we really try to reach as many people as possible all around the world. This new platform is not only a platform, it's also a way for us to show to our audience who we are and what we stand for, to be open, to be minimalist, and to be modular. One more thing, if you are an expert in accessibility and you want to audit our website, feel free to come to us with some improvement ideas. Thank you very much, and Carla, over to you.
Thank you, Antoine. Now it's time to look ahead in the next segment. Looking ahead, how we continue to grow in 2026. We will walk through the concrete plans for new modules, support for user groups, translations, certifications, and ways for you to be actively involved. Let's dive right in with our plans for 2026. Here to present them is Elena Huerta. Elena, over to you.
That means
Carla, let's have a look for our plans for the next 12 months. Although this is what we have in mind, it may change based on your feedback. We are currently finalizing the P1 Express, which is still in a draft. The final version is being reviewed, and we are working now on the comments. After finishing the P1 Express, we will work on finalizing the Leaders' Behavior Compass. After finalizing Compass, we will also work on a list of resources based on each of the skills used on those behaviors. In addition to that, there will be also a scenario-based self-assessment system which will assess you and provide you with a list of potential improvements as a feedback. Another module we will work on the next 12 months will be the P4 Express or the Change Management Module. You can also call it Program Management Module. After that, we will also make a set of standard slides for P4 Express, very similar to the ones already existing for P3 Express and Micro P3 Express. Also, we will work on the standard slides for P5 Express because they were not available yet. A few years ago, we developed the Art-of-File Center. Are you familiar with the Art-of-File Center? It's an interactive game where you get to play the role of a project manager and interact with other characters in the story. Based on those interactions, you will get to learn more about P3 Express. This has been a huge success, and we are currently working on a new version, which will be available soon to provide more choice to the community. In addition to that, if there is still time available, we will add a new program certification to the list. The next one will be the P5 Express. In addition to all those activities, there is a list of tasks that keep us continuously busy. As for example, the continuous support of the user groups, especially the group peer reviews. We are also constantly looking for new translation volunteers to add new languages to each module. And lastly, we are constantly looking for new case studies. So this is very, very important. If you are using any of our modules, OMIMO modules at work, please consider writing a case study. It will really help the community in understanding how and in which type of projects those modules can be used. So if you have any interesting study, you can either write it yourself or contact us at support@omimo.org, and we will help you with that. That's it, a very ambitious plan. Let's see in the next year's forum how far we get. Back to you, Carla.
Thank you, Elena. As you can see, the plans are ambitious. But OMIMO is only as strong as the volunteers and the contributors. We count on you to make these developments happen. In the beginning of this live show, Brian gave you an overview of our achievements in 2025. Now he's back to explain how we develop them, modules, and how you can contribute. Please welcome back Brian Baker.
To understand how you can contribute, let's begin with a quick summary of how new modules and important content is created at OMIMO. Everything receives at least 3 rounds of private review and 1 round of public review before being finalized. The most important review round is the first public review. The module is made available to everyone, and the entire community has 2 months to read it and submit their comments. If there are significant updates, there may be an additional round of private and public review. It's a challenge to get more than 1 round of feedback on content, hence the private review aims to iterate and refine content before public review. Would you like to be invited for private review? Usually contributors are selected who have previously submitted useful feedback. During public review, everyone's welcome to comment. It's important to note that even after the final version is published, we still continue to collect feedback. The collected comments on the published version will be incorporated in updated releases. The target is 3 to 6 years. How to contribute. On every OMIMO content page, there is a form you can use to submit feedback. You can also subscribe to receive updates. As mentioned previously, you can help with translation. You can work in independent user groups by reaching out, or you can form your own. As mentioned, you can report on your experiences of using a module by creating a case study. If you have another idea you'd like to suggest and would like to contribute, contact the team. Use the QR code to subscribe to announcements of important updates, and, perhaps most importantly, if there is only one thing I'd like you to remember, it's that OMIMO is a community initiative and will grow when you participate in the community. Back to you, Carla.
Thank you, Brian. A clear reminder that OMIMO only grows when this great community leans in. Before we end this segment, we have one last testimonial for you. Gregor Nicholas will explain how Showtex is using P3 Express in the international implementation of an ERP system. Let's have a listen.
I'm Gregor Nicholas, so I'm a project manager, I'm a P3 Express practitioner and trainer, and I'm an implementation manager here at Showtex. He is a global provider for mostly frame retardant curtains and motions for theater and events. So we work with different projects and shows like Tomorrowland, Beyoncé, 𝗖𝗎 𝘕𝗎𝘓. We are taking care of the magic that happens behind us. The Showtex HQ is based in Europe, in Belgium, but we have branches across Asia, the Middle East, and the US. I introduced P3 Express in Showtex when taking over the implementation of a new ERP system for the headquarters. The goal was not only to make the system work at HQ, but also to create a pattern where we could replicate it to our sister companies worldwide. When I took over this project, I introduced P3 Express methodology and used it as a checklist for management activities. So when I got into the project, documentation was all over the place. The team had really a scattered idea of what the scope was, and direction was not so clear. There were also other difficulties, so I took P3 Express as a checklist to go back and review and make sure that we could move towards success. So the first thing I did is sit down with the CEO, who was the highest senior level person I could have that was involved in the project. And then we went step by step through the initiation phase. We redefined and reconfirmed the sponsor, the role of the sponsor, my role as a project manager, the relationship with the sponsor, the core team members that will be involved throughout the project, assembling all the different documentations we had and getting feedback to make sure that we had a clear and, let's say, well-defined project description. I know that all of this sounds like common sense, but trust me, in the heat of the battle, while juggling many tasks, it really helps to have this list of the project management activities. And it makes it a lot easier to explain what we are going to upper management, what we are looking for, and it also brings back the focus to the team. My takeaways for a project like that is hopefully to be involved since the beginning of the project And if you're not and you get dropped into the project, mid-project, it is really good to go back and review the different steps or management activities of the initiation of a project. This will definitely give you more guidance, direction, and put you right back on what you have to do as a project manager. The second one probably would be the peer review. It is always good to have a neutral person, second set of eyes looking at the different steps in the process. And it also makes you as a project manager more confident in the steps that you're taking for a project. You're also learning from each other. And the third one is probably have a closure meeting or a closure celebration to the project. This really motivates the team. They have a sense of achievement. They know the project is closed and they probably would have more motivation to work with you in the next project.
Thank you, Gregor. You have seen the plans and you have heard how you can help shake them. Through reviews, translations, user groups, case studies, or simply by reaching out. The forum does not end when the live stream stops. Your contribution after today are what makes the next edition possible. Now we open the space in the wider ecosystem, in the open forum. We invite a few partner organizations to share short fire chats on tools that support our way of working. And then we turn to your questions. Let us move into the open forum. Welcome to the open forum. We'll kick off the open forum with a new format, fire chats. We invited two open source software tools that can help people in the project ecosystem. We'll give each of them 5 minutes and not a second more to convince us to use their project. If you hear something that interests you, drop the question in the chat. We will collect them and share them with the speakers to answer after the event. Let's start with our first live chat. Are you ready? Our first guest is from France. 𝘍𝘀 manages Joplin, a note-taking software tool. Laurent, we've set the timer. The floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is 𝘍𝘀 and I'm the creator of Joplin, an open source note-taking application. My project started in 2016. So when I started developing Joplin, it came through a simple observation. At the time I was already using a note-taking app. It was convenient as it allowed me to keep all my notes and ideas in one place. So the need itself was covered, but the real problem was that everything was proprietary. The service got acquired, decisions were made without user having any say, and I no longer had control over my own data. I didn't recognize the tool I was using every day anymore. So it made me think about how dependent we are on these tools. When everything is stored on a closed platform, you're at the mercy of their technical decision, policy shift, external factors such as the Cloud Act, and even price hikes. That's where the idea for Joplin came from, to create a simple, open alternative where everyone can keep full control of their notes without relying on a centralized service. So Joplin is an offline-first application. Your notes are stored locally on your devices, so it supports desktop, mobile, iOS, Android, and you can access them anytime without depending on any external service. It's also open source, so the code is public. Anyone can see how it works. The goal is for users not to depend on a company or a centralized service. You can use Joplin however you want, modify it, adapt it, or just use it as it is, knowing that your data truly belongs to you. On this philosophy, we build a complete app that lets you capture ideas in multiple ways, by typing text with the Markdown or rich text editor, by drawing with a freehand drawing tool, or by dictating notes using voice typing. You can combine text, images, files, and to-dos, and organize everything using notebooks and tags. Search is fast and powerful, and one of the most useful features is OCR, which lets you extract text from images or PDF. Finally, you can customize the application using one or many plugins. There are over 300 available as of now, so you have plenty of choice. For us and for many users, it was also important to be able to access notes everywhere. So at 𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠, we decided once again to let users choose and not log them into our own service. You can choose various third-party services like Nextcloud, Dropbox, or self-host your data using WebDAV or 𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠 server. We also offer ready-to-use optimized solution developed by our team. So this is the 𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠 Cloud, our official hosted service. In addition to synchronization, 𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠 Cloud allows users to share notes, publish notes online, and collaborate in real time on shared notebooks. Finally, synchronization is end-to-end encrypted, which means your data is safe even when it is uploaded to the cloud. And for organizations or businesses that want a dedicated setup, we have a self-hosted solution called 𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠 Server Business. It provides the same synchronization and collaboration feature, but allows you to keep all your data in-house. So today, 𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠 has more than 400 active users worldwide. It's also now a company with 4 full-time team members, continuing to grow since its creation in October 2023. 𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠 Cloud is also expanding rapidly, with more and more users choosing it for its simplicity and collaborative features. We release about 4 major updates per year, continually improving the mobile, desktop, and now web application. And through all this, we keep the same guiding principle to provide a simple, reliable, and fully user-controlled note-taking tool, whether it's for personal use, professional work, or team collaboration. Thank you for your time.
Nicely within time. Let's move on to our next guest, 𝘎𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 from Mexico. Astro developed open source tool manage your task based on P1 Express. Astro, there are 5 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Hi everyone, I'm really excited to be here today to share something that began with a simple idea. What if the P1 Express method could live inside a small, lightweight app, one that you fully own and run on your device, even without an internet connection? That idea became P1Express.app, a minimal, offline-first implementation of the P1 Express method, built for people who want to focus on what truly matters: planning, doing, and reflecting without distraction. As a developer, I have always been fascinated by how technology can serve people. And when I discovered the P1 Express method, something clicked. Its simplicity, its structure, and its rhythm remind me why I started coding: to build things that make life easier. I want to turn that philosophy into something you can use, something personal, something private, something fully yours. So, no accounts, no servers, no data collection, just a tiny app to download for free and run locally forever. By the way, my name is 𝘎𝘕𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠. I know it's not the easiest name, so please call me Astro. I am a Venezuelan developer living in Mexico and the creator of P1Express.app. Today, I want to show you how this small tool brings the P1 Express method to life. So let's jump into my screen. Let's head to my browser and type P1Express.app. Click on the Download App button. The app will be downloaded to your downloads folder. And once you open the app, you will see 4 sections. You might recognize them: doing, postpone, finish, and cancel. To create a new task, just hit Command K or Control K if you are in Windows, and fill the title and the description. You also may select a label. I will choose personal. Click Save, and you're done. Now, moving tasks between sections is as easy as dragging and drop. So I will drag to task we created to postpone. P1Express.app will prompt me for a reason to postpone. I fill that reason in and hit save. That's it. Everything saved automatically. There's no cloud, there is no sync. Everything works on your device. So how about switching between devices? No problem. Go to the import and export feature and export all your data on one file. Later, you can import it and continue exactly where you left off. For me, P1Express app is more than a tool. It's a way to bring the P1Express method we love into a daily practice. To act with focus, awareness, and simplicity, even in a noisy world. Thanks you to the OMIMO community for creating such an inspiring framework, and thank you to everyone who expand this human-centered ecosystem. Now, please visit P1Express.app, download it, try it, and make it your own. You can contact me at any time at p1express.app/hello. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you to all our Fire Chat guests of these focused and practical contributions. A quick reminder, the questions you posted to the Fire Chats will be collected. The speakers will answer them in writing after the event, and we will publish those answers on the OMIMO website. Now we give the word to you, the community. Over the past weeks and during this forum, you have submitted many questions about OMIMO, its modules and the plans ahead. It's time to get some answers. To guide us through this part, I'm pleased to introduce Nader, who many of you know as one of the key figures behind OMIMO. Nader, our community has submitted a lot of questions. Let's start with the most frequent ones.
Okay.
I have a question from Jan from the Netherlands. In which sectors are there more P3Express users?
I would say it's really diverse. We have users in every possible sector. And it's one of the strengths in P3Express actually, because we know that based on the feedback we get feedback from people who work in construction projects, IT projects, research projects, humanitarian projects, which is really heartwarming. And we even have doctors and nurses who use it in their hospitals and give us back feedback. So I would say all types of projects, even those that are usually maybe not really targeted by many other project management systems. I also have some questions here.
Yes.
These are the more recent ones. And I've been signaled that we will have more recent questions on the TV in front of us. So I'll go through one of these. Pavel asks, with new modules coming in, I would love to participate in Teach the Teacher seminars, where I could get an overview by an expert on how to spread this beautiful OMIMO knowledge. Question is, when and how, or where? So we have a few programs. We've started them recently. One program is trainer initiation. And the way it works is that when someone wants to become a trainer, we wait and we group trainers in groups of 6 or 7, I think, and have some special sessions for them to make sure that they know the content well enough before they start teaching people. That's one program.
And the other program is trainer realignment, which is what we will do every year. We've already done it once. So the way it works is that sometimes we've noticed that the people who are trained by a certain person all have problems in some domains because we are always analyzing the results of the exams. So it means that maybe the trainer has misunderstood that single topic, and it's a good idea to go through that with the trainer. What we do is that once a year, we collect all those areas that some of the trainers have problems with, and then in a session with those trainers, we will discuss them. So those were the two programs. The third program is that when we have a new certification program and the accreditation system is ready, the standard, the slides are ready, we bring people who want to become trainers in a really big group. We don't have a special name for it, I think. A type of initiation. That happened, for example, recently for Micro P3 Express. And in the future, we will have more of them. All of them are free of charge, of course. And the way you can do it is that if you're already one of the trainers, you will be informed of the future ones. And if you have applied to become a trainer, you will also be informed of the future things that happen. But also, if you subscribe to the announcements, everything important is there in the announcements. Yeah. You will know that. So, back to you, Carla.
Okay, I have a question from Arash, Iran. How can I become a trainer for Micro P3 Express?
So, everything in OMIMO is non-proprietary. They are all libre, meaning that you can do whatever you want. If you want to become a trainer, you can be a trainer tomorrow. You don't need to ask anyone for permission, for example. You have the permission. You own it, in a way. But what we have is a special accreditation program to ensure the quality of the trainers. And the difference is just the label, that this trainer is accredited. The program is free of charge, and you need to be certified yourself. You need to accept the code of conduct. There's an ethical code of conduct on how you would work in your courses. You need to have a minimum number of people per year trained. And the other thing is that your candidates will be continuously evaluated, their exams. We have a lot of risk signals in the examination platform. And what we want to make sure is that the trainer is not training to the exam. They are not teaching people how to pass the exam, because that's not important. We want trainers to teach people how to be better project managers or program managers or portfolio managers. Passing the exam is a byproduct of learning the content. And there are certain ways we can check that in the exam. So if we see that the trainer is not doing that well, we will get in touch with the trainer, we will check it, we will have conversations, and we will try to bring that accredited trainer back to the track that helps people be more effective in their projects. So that's the whole thing with accreditation. If you're interested, there's a page that explains everything. You can go through it, see if you really like it, and then you can contact OMIMO and tell them that you want to start your process for becoming accredited. Okay, I'll go for one of these questions. I don't have the name. Does OMIMO have any ideas on how to apply AI or, wow, this handwriting is difficult for me. Could you help me? I'm sorry. That's actually one of the things.
Yes, I will try.
Maybe I'm a bot.
It's from 𝘎𝘳𝘰𝗺𝘃 from Poland. Does OMIMO has any ideas or plans to apply AI tools, AI assistants, AI agents inside or with or for P3Express?
Okay, so everything we have in OMIMO is about the ways of working. It's about methods and models. They are things that help you through your projects, through your portfolios, and so on. We don't offer anything related to software. If you decide to use a special type of software that uses, for example, artificial intelligence instead of algorithm, it's up to you. And that's in a completely different level. It's not about your method. You will use software to facilitate your method. So that's outside our scope, basically, I would say. But maybe I can add this. AI has become the hype these days, and many organizations who work on methods and such, they start publishing content about AI. We basically think that a lot of it is a hype that will pass. And the actual use of AI will be very different soon. And whatever it is, it will be a tool for project managers. We are really, really far from the day that artificial intelligence or any non-biological machine can do an end-to-end job of a real project manager. We don't believe in that. Okay, so this one, handwriting is much better.
Okay.
It's from Tam, and the question is, has OMIMO attempted creating a specialized modules for select domains or disciplines? We had this plan before to create different themes for P3Express, for different types of industries, for different domains, if you will. For now, we don't know. It's not part of our plan anymore. And it doesn't mean that it won't be in the future. We are currently focused on completing the modules. In the near future, we will have the change management module, program management, team management. These seem to be a lot more high priority. And also we have a lot of really, really interesting vertical modules planned. When we are done with those, if there are people in different industries who like to help create content really focused on that industry, we will be happy to collaborate and work together to create those. So I also see a note in front of me saying that one of the P3Express users has created a generative AI assistant based on micro P3Express, something like that. So if you're interested in that thing, maybe you can check it out. Carla.
I have a question from Olga from Ukraine. The compass is quite abstract for me, and there are so many behaviors in it. How can it be minimalist?
Pass, next. No, I'm kidding. Being minimalist is sometimes misunderstood. Being minimalist is not about being small. It has relatively fewer elements in it, but being minimalist is that you want to focus on the essentials of something instead of having all the clutter around it. Now, the number of elements you would have as the essence of something is different from one to the other. For example, there's a really nice radio from Brown, the brand, made by, I think it's designed by Dieter Rams. It has only 2 controls on it. That's minimalism for the radio. But the same brand has a hi-fi system. And for that hi-fi system, it's still minimalist. It's iconically minimalist, but it has maybe 30 different controls. And that's the same in project management, in the project ecosystem. So For the compass, we have nearly 100 behaviors. And it's still minimalist, meaning that those are, according to OMIMO, the most essential behaviors. And when you think about it, there's a lot more behaviors. Just think about it. Can we say that human beings have only about 100 or 200 behaviors? No, there are thousands of behaviors. What you have there is the 100 that are the most important ones for the leader. Okay, shall I go to one of these? We have Lee from Scotland, and he says, hello. Hello. Good to join. I missed some, but will recording in full be available later on LinkedIn? Yes, it will automatically be available on LinkedIn, but also on the website if you prefer that. So I'm going to the next one. That was simple. Some time ago, there was a plan to create modules from various industries, construction, IT. Oh, it's similar to the question I had. So we have that answered. Question from Chris and Sevan asking, how do I get the P5 Express material and exam? The P5 Express manual is available online. You just go to p5.express. And if you mean the standard slides, they will be available in a few months, I think. And the exam. I think the exam will also be available in maximum 6-7 months, but there is no guarantee. The plan is to have them soon. Okay.
Yes?
Carla?
Okay, I have another question from Farid, Algeria. How do I start using P1 Express? I have a huge backlog of tasks. Do I need to go through all of them?
Yes, and that's amazing, going through a lot of tasks. When you do that, you're basically reviewing everything you want to do in your life, and that's a really nice thing to do. You go through all of that, you decide what you want to do in the next few months, what you want to do next year, what you want to do even 5 years from now. I have some tasks that are postponed to 5 or 6 years from now, and it's amazing. If you don't have time to do it immediately and you're in a certain time in your work that you cannot sit down and spend, for example, 8 hours or 10 hours organizing all the previous activities, previous tasks, then you can start with the urgent ones and maybe spend half an hour per day going through the ones you had before and gradually bring them to your system. But ultimately, we want to have all of them in your system.
Yep.
Can I have one more? We have time. 5 minutes.
Yes. Do you have some questions left?
I see that I've answered all of them indirectly.
Okay, so Yasmin from the United Kingdom. Do you have plans for modules on PMOs in the future?
Well, in a lot of places when they talk about PMOs, they are actually thinking about things like portfolio management, and for that we have separate modules. A really good thing that remains for a centralized place in your organization is to create standards for things that happen more than once, meaning for your projects and programs. So a center to standardize projects and programs. That can be a good subject, and that's something that we've discussed before a few times. Now, you can call it a PMO if you want. It's not scheduled yet. We don't know when we would do that, but I think we will do that sooner or later because it can be very interesting. So,
okay.
Can we go to the next one, Carla?
Yes. I have a question from Amina from Kenya. Is your P3 Express app open source? Can I, for example, adjust it and sell it to the companies I consult for?
Well, we don't have any apps. Everything in OMIMO is Libre, which is similar to open source, so you can do anything you want and you can sell it. The license that it comes with is Creative Commons attribution, meaning that the only thing you need to do is to say that it was based on, for example, 𝘖𝘂𝑥press. But since you mentioned app, a while back there was a mention of P1Express app, and that's not from OMIMO, it's from one of the people in the OMIMO community. The source is available, but whether or not it's open source, meaning that you have the permission from the programmer to change it, I don't know. You have to check it, see what license it comes from. And of course, you can always get in touch with the programmer. He seemed like a very nice person.
Okay. I think it's time to end the Q&A session. We are running out of time. Thank you, Nader, for being here. Thank you, everyone who made this event possible. It's time to close the OMIMO Community Forum 2025. I would like you to remember one thing. A growing ecosystem is not a show you watch. It's something you help create. Thank you for being part of our shared vision, a vision where projects run efficiently, fulfill their purpose, and leave a positive social and ethical footprint in the world. From Canada to Cameroon, from Germany to Ghana, from Poland to Portugal, Ireland to India, Spain to Saudi Arabia, and far beyond, you have shown that OMIMO is not a logo or a website. It is a global community of people who choose to take the minimalist management approach to have more impact projects, programs, and portfolios. If tonight sparkled something, do not leave it here. Start and join a user group. Subscribe in our announcements. Use an OMIMO module in your next project and send us your story. Translate one page. Review one draft. Ask one question. Invite